Now, let's move to the donor, to the donor states, the external states that provide assistance. If you talk about natural disasters, they may act and assist bilaterally through either their government agencies or through national NGOs. They may also, in some cases, mobilize other governmental actors for logistical support. I mean, the example would be the US, the US Army in Haiti, which played a very important role in terms of logistics. This, of course, has an advantage because they had a huge capacity, but of course also possible ambiguities and problems of perception in that particular case. So I mean there's a sort of trade-off between capability and perception. Another possibility would be for the government to act through international agencies, with earmarked funding, saying, okay, there is a disaster taking in such a country, we will assist through UNHCR, we will assist through WFP, etc., saying we make a contribution of so many $1 million or hundreds of thousands of dollars to this agency for this particular disasters. Or another possibility would be to provide more assistance to the UN through the pooled funding, through the Central Emergency Relief Fund or other financial mechanisms. So basically, a country has the choice, if it wants to do something, either to act bilaterally, directly through government agencies, or through NGOs, or multilaterally. In a conflict situation, the range of possibilities actually is broader than those. So you have all these possibilities if you need to provide financial resources, material resources in a conflict situation, but there is also scope for other action. That is to say, well, you can of course support humanitarian action financially through the same channels, but you also have the diplomatic support which can be provided to humanitarian action. That is to say, to facilitate the acceptance of humanitarian action by acting diplomatically, bilaterally, with the regional actors in the UN fora, etc., etc. Another possibility in the conflict situation, I mentioned this before, would be support to the peacekeeping operations, either by providing troops or providing financial support, and other countries providing troops financed by those that provide financing. Other possibility, mediation, to participate in mediation efforts. And then you have also the possibility of a country to become involved in a humanitarian crisis through autonomous military action. Autonomous military action with or without the approval of the proper authorities, that is of the United Nations Security Council. Okay. So you have these all these range of possibilities. So what I'm saying here is that the states and the humanitarian actors have close, complex, diversified relations, and this relationship, of course, is very critical, very central in the shaping of humanitarian action. You could say, if you look at this relationship in very general terms, you could say that the humanitarian actors are greatly dependent on states. They are dependent on states because, as we saw yesterday, the states provide the resources, the financial resources. They also, of course, provide the general political framework in which or shape the general political framework in which humanitarian action is possible. So there's a great dependence of humanitarian actors on states. But on the other hand, the humanitarian actors also have an influence on state. It's not just a one-way relationship, in the sense that the humanitarian actors will play a role and have the possibility of playing a role in, I would say, can influence the state's attitudes and agenda.